Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to 5 things America invented that Brits love. I am fascinated to see what will be in this because I guess you could go to things like, I don't know if America invented smartphones or whatever, but in terms of like things that are used, a lot of them are American, right? Like a lot of the biggest brands are American. But will this be things that are like a bit more like niche, like certain foods maybe? I think I saw Harrods in the thumbnail, which is a shop. From what I know, it's a really expensive shop in the UK where you just buy like designer brands, but I don't really know it. I've never been before, and that might have just been in the thumbnail for whatever reason because inventing a shop. I don't know if Brits love Harrods. Maybe rich Brits do, but yeah, we're going to see anyway. I don't know really what to sort of expect to see in here. We're seeing tea here, and I think I have seen before that tea bags were made in America. I don't actually know. That sounds mad to even think that that's the case. I'm pretty sure we got it from India, no? I don't know. We're going to see. Hopefully you're going to enjoy. Hopefully you're doing well. And yeah, let's jump into this reaction and see some of these American inventions that Brits love. And I'm going to assume I love some of them or I use some of them. Yeah, let's jump into this.
Tea. It might be the drink most people associate with Britain, but the tea bag itself, that actually started in America.
What?
Which is pretty ironic considering how completely British tea has become. And it's not the only thing. Some of the everyday essentials we use without
tea
even
bags.
thinking about, from
I feel like I've seen that, but I don't know.
the way we travel.
Maybe in a video before I've seen like the tea bags were made in America, but so I guess tea was from the UK or we got it from India or whatever, and then the tea bag sort of concept was then what made a tea bag, and we just had tea before. I'm assuming that's how it was. Yeah.
And live all began in the States. So let's take a look at 5 American inventions that shaped everyday life more than most of us realize. And where better to start than with something as British as a cup of tea? Because nothing feels more British than a good cuppa. But tea bags, they got their start across the pond, though there are 2 versions of how it happened. One says a New York tea merchant named Thomas Sullivan accidentally created them around 1908 when customers started dunking his silk sample pouches straight into hot water. Another credits 2 American women, Roberta Lawson.
So no one actually knows the exact history. It's just one or 2 stories. Huh.
And Mary McLaren, who patented a fabric tea leaf holder in 1901, which was officially granted in 1903. Either way, both inventions came from America, and that's where it all started. Later, more inventors in the US developed heat-sealable paper bags for tea, and in 1939, a representative from Tetley brought the idea back to the UK, making
Tetley?
them the
Wait, so Tetley's an American brand? What? Tetley? Okay,
first company to sell tea in bags in the UK, with their new patented tea bag hitting the UK market in...
Wait, Tetley tea? This isn't even important because it might not even be... Where is Tetley... from? I guess it is a British brand. Okay, it is. Okay, so they got the idea from the US and then brought it to the UK. By the way it was sort of phrased, I assumed it was a brand from the US and then brought it over to the UK. So damn, tea bags only became a thing in like the 30s in the UK, like the 1930s.
In 1953, setting the stage for bags in the UK, with their new patented tea bag hitting the UK market in 1953,
53.
setting the stage for a brewing revolution that would change how people made their tea at home. And of course, you can't have a cup of tea without a kettle. If there's one thing that sums up Britain, it's the kettle boiling. But the first electric kettle was actually made in America in 1891 by the Carpenter Electric Company.
And I find that really interesting because I know it's not necessarily that every American doesn't have one, but I feel like it's quite common that Americans don't have kettles where you can boil them from the kettle. They'll have like a kettle that you can put on the stove and stuff. But from what I've seen in the comments before, a lot of people don't own kettles or don't use kettles. And And I just assumed kettles are like things that everyone has in their kitchen, like a toaster or a microwave. Like it's just a thing that everyone has. But from what I've seen, and I could be wrong, kettles aren't actually that commonly found in the US, or at least kettles that you you boil on the kettle or whatever you'd call it, and not on a stove. Um,
Those
yeah.
early versions were slow and clunky, and they took over 10 minutes to boil water
Damn.
because the heating element wasn't in the water itself. Britain later took the idea and transformed it, with the brand Swan introducing the first model that had the heating element inside the water chamber in 1922, and Russell Hobbs then added the automatic shutoff feature in the 1950s. That's when the kettle truly became part of everyday British life. It's faster, safer, and completely essential. But the idea itself for the electric kettle did come from America. And now it's hard to imagine a British kitchen without one humming away in the background. Next up, the microwave. It
Not
might be in
surprised by this
almost
one. I think this one's probably one that I've seen before.
every single home today, but it was actually an American invention. And once again, it started completely by accident.
Right.
In 1945, engineer Percy Spencer noticed a chocolate bar in his pocket had melted while he was working near radar equipment, leading to the discovery that microwaves could heat food. Just 2 years later, the first commercial model, the Radar range, was released.
That happened fast.
It was massive, it was expensive, and mostly used in restaurants, hotels, and other large scale kitchens. But it marked the start of something big. That breakthrough sparked a wave of innovation that quickly spread beyond the US, reaching the UK and much of the world over the following decades, transforming the way millions of people cooked at home. Next up, leaving the kitchen, we have the escalator. We see them everywhere in shopping centres, airports.
They kind of scare me. I can't lie. I've seen so many like things about these, or horror stories of people getting stuck in them and all that. I mean, I go on them, but they do give me the heebie-jeebies. But I guess they're useful, right? This is more like it's just like a, is it efficiency or just makes life a bit easier? It's not necessary, but I guess in like like for example in like the London Underground, and you have like it's so deep underground, and you have like these long ass stairs. You need these to basically make it just not exhausting to get up and down from that. So there's definitely a very important use to them, but I think these are just good for making life a little bit easier. It's just one of those
In
things.
tube stations and never think twice. But this everyday convenience
Again, I'm not surprised by this being American though, because I think America is like the home of convenience, and this is definitely a convenient
is
creation.
yet again another American invention. And it all started with three Americans. The first, in 1859, was Nathan Ames from Massachusetts. He patented the idea of revolving stairs. It was never built, but it did plant the seed. The second, in 1896, was Jesse Reno. He installed the world's first working escalator at Coney Island in New York. Steam powered, treated like a ride, and known then as
That's
the
funny.
endless conveyor or elevator. And then, third, in 1897, Charles Seeberger redesigned it into something much closer to what we use today. He partnered with Otis Elevator Company in 1899, and in 1900 he officially gave it its name, Escalator. Meanwhile, the UK was quick to adopt the idea. In 1898, Harrods installed a French built escalator inspired by America, building on the existing technology, making it one of the first permanent installations outside the US.
Of course, it was in Harrods as well. Of course.
So, France helped spread the technology, Britain embraced it early, but the invention itself began in America. And from there, escalators transformed how people move through cities around the world. Number 5 takes us up into the skies. People in countries like England and Germany had been experimenting with gliders and powered flight for years, but it was in America that the first controlled powered flight finally took off. In 1903, in North Carolina, the Wright brothers achieved the first controlled powered flight.
I do wonder, like, how many times they tried doing this and then, like, people wouldn't land and all that. I wonder, I assume there's a lot of people who lost their lives from testing this stuff out because they'd never done it before. So imagine being the first one to fly up and then land. Like, that's got to be so scary. So damn scary.
Lasting just 12 seconds, but shaping every flight since. And by 1905, they had perfected the world's first practical aeroplane. Their 3-axis control system became the foundation for controlled flight. Britain quickly built on it. In 1909, the Short brothers licensed the Wright aircraft design, bringing it to Britain and shaping the country's early flying machines and pilots. From there, the technology evolved, and those same principles still guide everything from passenger jets to space shuttles.
That is pretty mad.
And honestly, that's just the beginning. There are so many more things that America is responsible for.
Like, when you think about, like, the first like planes that were being used, obviously they look so different and looked so not like bad because obviously they're incredible for what they did in the time. But you just look at them, you're like, how is that even like you just compare it to the technologies now, and it's not really. You couldn't really even think they're the same sort of thing. But the fact that everything came from that, and now we still base what we do off of that, is always pretty cool. But that's with everything, I guess. Like, the first car, you look at that and you're like, it just looks mad. And you look at cars now, and it's just, yeah, they all come from that. But yeah, I obviously knew the Wright brothers' invention was American because I've seen that so many times. But the tea one, the kettle one, the microwave one, I think again that kind of makes sense. That being American, the escalator one as well, that kind of makes sense, and yeah, the plane one. But I didn't actually fully know about a lot of these. But it's always cool to see this sort of video to understand and learn about the history of different things that everyone uses. And to be fair, I use all of these, so yeah, she was right. Tea bags. Actually, I use tea bags. I don't use British tea bags, but I use a lot of like different teas. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and thank you for your inventions. But yeah, until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.